don't expect others to believe in your goals because they're yours. They're your goals. I heard that, and that was a big game changer for me. And I know, especially with your family, especially if you're living at home, don't expect others to believe in your goals or to support your goals, even if they're family. It doesn't matter. So what? They're your parents. If anything, your parents, your family, if they actually love you, they want to keep you safe. Safe is the opposite of wanting to be successful, right? Safe is the opposite of taking steps forward. Safe is the opposite of putting yourself out there, getting burned and learning. The most valuable lessons I've ever learned in my life, and I know you guys can relate to, is because of mistakes. Because I put myself out there. It's because I've lived on my own since I was 17 years old. It's because I had to learn the hard way. It's because I've been through it all, done it all. And it wasn't ideal. And if I had a kid right now, would I want him to go through everything I went through? Probably not, to be completely frank with you. Even somebody as, you could say as much in this game as I am and as much of this belief system. Now, my kids are going to basically freaking go through military from day one. So that's different. That's just discipline that I'm going to impart on them. But besides that, do I want them to do what I did? I've worked any and every job there is, you can imagine. When I was younger and just wanting money, literally, I've done everything, right? Do I want them to go through all those experiences? No, because it's hard, because it's tough, because I know what it did. But that's why I am who I am, though. Right? This is why I said the most successful people on this planet have had some terrible childhoods, some terrible stories. If you go back, like you'll see him, Tony Robbins, his mom used to put soap down his throat. His dad walked out on them. Like he had a crazy story, right? One night for Thanksgiving, some random dude came and dropped off dinner for them because they didn't have food on Thanksgiving. From that moment, he saw the impact that had on them, and he just decided to commit his whole being to giving. That's why his whole thing is so much around giving and changing lives. So what he does is such a unique niche. It's like psychology, therapy, business coaching. If you go to any of his live events, he's solving like problems with relationships. Like he's doing everything, right? Because his whole thing is about giving. And he talks about the story of one time he was driving when he was younger. He was broke. He pulled over his car, started bawling his eyes out, crying, and he wrote down in his journal, the secret to living is giving. And he came to that, and that was his paradigm shift. He talks about this other story where he walked into a restaurant. He had just pretty much spent his last dollar. He was behind on rent. Pretty sure he was living in his car, whatever. Basically dead broke. He was younger. By the way, at this point, he was shadowing Jim Rohn. He was following Jim Rohn from seminar to seminar and learning what he does and trying to learn from him. He was probably 19, 20 years old. And that's what led to him doing live events and doing what he does to this day. But he walked into a restaurant and he said he was sitting there. He had like maybe a couple bucks left in his pocket, and he had his last meal, and he told himself like, this is my last meal. I'm going to eat, and I have to let this sit for a while because I probably won't have food for a while. And he had like a couple bucks in his pocket, and he said this little kid walked in with his mom, and it was just a kid and the mom, and the little kid was nicely dressed. It was a little boy, and he opened the door for his mom like a gentleman. He like held the door. The mom walked in. He pulled the chair out. He let his mom sit. He like talked her in or whatever. Like he acted like the man, like the gentleman. He was a little boy, right? And he's like, I was just watching this and I was so moved by this that he said, I walked over to the table and I said, hey, little man, like I saw what you did. Like, this is amazing. And I just want to say, you're buying your lady here lunch today. And he was like, I can't buy her lunch. I don't have money. I'm a kid or whatever. And he's like, no, you do. And he pulled out the last, whatever, 20 bucks or whatever, a couple bucks he had in his pocket. And he gave it to the little boy. And he's like, yeah, you are. Here's the money. And he just walked out. That was the last of his money in his pocket. And I'm literally like getting emotional just thinking about it now. Like it just gives me like goosebumps because it's such a powerful concept, right? And then again, like the same concept of the secret to living is giving. But anyways, to go full circle, a lot of great people, a lot of great things come out of hardship, come out of negativity, right? Because you see an example of what you don't want. You see an example of, you learn something from every single person. From the most negative people in your life, you're learning some of the most valuable lessons. This is what I don't want. This is who I don't want to be. You guys see like haters on social media, just people that are just bad people. You guys see it in real life, people driving bad, whatever. That's a valuable lesson. You should thank that person instead of getting angry or getting emotional. Again, stoic principles. You should be grateful that that happened. You should thank these people and tell yourself, that's who I don't want to be. This is what I don't want to put into the world. That's an example of what I don't want. And then there's examples of what you do want. So there's value everywhere, right? But long story short, all of these people have gone through the same thing that are at the highest levels and today are revered. And it's all been a long journey. Some of these people have been in this game for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? You guys just see the end results. You guys don't see when Tony Robbins was broke, walking on a beach, bawling his eyes out, writing in his journal. Right? You guys see Tony Robbins today, flying on a private jet, right? It's a completely different game and it takes a long time to get there. But long story short, It's your goals, and you can't expect others to believe in your goals. They're yours. If anything, you should tell yourself, I'm going to put myself in a position that I'm going to achieve these goals, and I'm going to do more for these people who didn't believe in me. And I'll show them through example. I'll show them through my work, right?